All right, everyone. Today's topic is leadership. Leadership is something I've talked about a lot in my videos. It is something I will continue to talk a lot about. You can go back to my past videos and see those. But one thing I want to do today is try to take something that we could spend weeks talking about, condense it down, maybe give you a couple of good nuggets to take home and to think about. But as a CFO for the company I work for, I have to spend a lot of my time developing leaders, spending a lot of my time doing one-on-ones, doing coachings, helping people develop into their own leadership styles so that they can be better leaders to their team to hopefully become more efficient, more productive, and be more beneficial to their team and the company. But today, like I said, we're going to talk about a couple other things. The first thing I want to talk about is that leadership is not a title. It's not the title of CFO, it's not the title of director, it's not the title of manager. People often will say, well, if I get this title, then I become a leader. That's not true. Leadership is a path. It is a journey. It's an avenue, and it's not an easy one to walk through, and it's one that you won't complete until you finally die. I promise you. Okay, so leadership is not about the title. So take that misconception, throw it out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. Leadership really starts with this. It's a daily choice. It's a daily choice to wake up and say, I'm going to manage my attitude. I'm going to manage my discipline, my emotions, and I'm going to manage my actions. And when I talk to people about developing the leaders, I said the first thing you got to do as a leader is you got to understand that there's a mirror in front of you, and you are constantly looking at this mirror, looking at yourself, because you have to hold yourself more accountable than you hold your team accountable. Leadership isn't just about, I got this title, now I get to tell people what to do. That is not the right, that's not the right avenue you want to go down. So it's about putting that mirror in front of you and constantly holding yourself accountable. So like I said, it's a daily choice to manage your attitude, your decisions, your emotions, and your actions, which is hard. Okay, and that also means that you have to develop yourself into becoming a person that you would follow. How many leaders have you worked under that you didn't like, that you said you wouldn't follow? Okay, if you stay under a leader like that, I promise you, you're going to develop into the same type of person that you're following. You have to develop yourself into a person that you would be willing to follow. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, would I even follow myself? And I think if you're honest with yourselves, you're probably going to see some things you need to work on. So there's a drill I like to do, and it's a very basic drill. This is like entry-level 101 when I'm talking to people about developing into leaders. 4 simple questions. Okay, and the questions are this: do you keep your promises? If you keep your promises, fantastic, you pass step 1. But if you don't always keep your promises, then we have to talk about that. We have to go down that path of why aren't you keeping your promises? If you tell somebody you're going to do something and you don't do it, then that puts into question your trust, and you can't do that. The other thing is, do you own your mistakes? Can you, remember I said earlier about looking in the mirror? You have to constantly look in the mirror, and that's where you own your mistakes. And can you own your mistakes publicly? Can you go to your team and say, I made this decision and it didn't work out and this is on me? If you can't do that, you're not ready for a leadership position. And do you react instead of respond? Okay, this is a big one. Does a situation come up in front of you and then you just immediately react to it? Or do you wait? Do you gather information? Do you gather your emotions, get the facts, and then you respond accordingly to it? Most people just react. A situation comes up, they say, well, I'm really busy, I have a lot on my plate, I'm just going to make the decision, we're going to react to it, and then move on. And that may or may not be the right decision. Maybe it was, and if it is, that's great, because you solved it in an efficient time frame. But most of the time, it's not going to be that way. So you want to make sure that you don't react, that you actually respond to situations. And then the last one, this is the hardest one. Are you constantly growing? A lot of people work towards that promotion, they work towards that job, they work towards that salary, they work towards starting that business, they work towards what the thing they're trying to work towards. And then when they get there, they stop growing. And the truth is, when you get there, you've just started the journey. And that's the hard thing, is you have to continue to grow. Because when you get that job, then you have to become a better leader so that you can help develop the leaders that report to you. And that's the challenging piece, because if you make the people who report to you better leaders than you, then you've done exactly what you're supposed to do. So I hope you like this video. More videos to come this week, and you have a great day.